Orlando Pirates Fan TV. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube, Orlando Pirates Fan TV. Follow us on Twitter, OPFC1937. We are here with. We are here to analyze the upcoming match for the CAF Confederations Cup second leg between Orlando Pirates and Etoile-du Sahel. The match was something else. What are your views and what do you think will happen? First of all, before we go into that, tell us, what is your relationship with Orlando Pirates and why this club? Why do you support it? Why don't you support any other team besides Pirates?
Orlando Pirates, I fell in love with it when I was doing when I was studying at, I was actually in my primary level. I'm a chick, yes, it's very hard to find a girl who likes football, but I think I watched it once with my dad. He didn't influence me supporting Pirates, but I grew loving the brand of football they played. During that time, it was the Coastal and Public area, where there was Lilo Mbele, Kifli Remy, Steve Lukoli also, the likes of Peru Mutapa, Joseph Mkawendo, just to name a few, Girl Mudabi, Ivan Shambi. Like, I just grew with the love of the team, how they play their football, attacking football. And from that day, I supported it and I followed everything about Pirates. Over the years, I've grown to love it, despite, even though sometimes it disappoints, but I've continuously loved and supported the team.
And are you happy with the way the club is run?
I am happy, despite our absent chairman. But I think
What do you mean absent?
he's hardly around, even though he hired the right people to take care of the affairs on a daily basis. But I believe sometimes it could be like hands-on, like Kizam Dang Jr., for instance.
But the difference between them is that he runs the whole PS. He's the chairman of the PSL. Don't you think it would be unfair to ask him to be there?
Not really, because sometimes you need the mentor in a way, somebody who can advise you at times. He does come when, let's say, important games, because I tend to believe before the final he maybe did meet up with the players and spread some few advices and told them whatnot. And even if things are bad, he does come once in a while to talk to the players as well. But I feel like sometimes the players, it's very hard for them to reach him, because if I'm not mistaken, maybe there's some routes or ways that you need to follow in order to talk to the chairman, which makes it hard for players sometimes to communicate with them. So if it could be available to them, let's say he makes time in everything, like say once or twice a week, then it would be much easier for the player to interact with the chairman.
And do you think that, you were talking about the era of Kostas and Papic, do you think that Pirates right now they play with that same flair, flamboyance, that excitingness, or do you think we have regressed in terms of that?
I think the coach that succeeded in doing that has to be Rudolf Kroll. He did bring the fair, and we did score goals. That's the fun part, that's the most important part. In Coastal and Papic's era, we played good football, we entertained the crowd and everything. By the end of the day, the scoreline would say Pirates nil, the other opposition 2 or 1-0. We lost the game, which at the end of the day, it's 3 points, or the other opposition is progressing to the next round, or it's a friend or they win. But with Papic, you never paid fruit of the good football we played. While on the era of Rudolf Kroll, we played good football, we scored goals, we defended not that well, but our defense is not that bad compared to now. So in the end, I'll say the only only coach who has tried to relate that of course in Papic has to be Rudolf Kroll, even though Vivi Vladovic tried to install the same thing, which the defense was much better. I tend to believe that the discipline for the players was much better. And then the following other coaches, I don't think they tried to succeed in doing that.
And then the transition between Kroll, Liel, and more to come. Do you think we have progressed since the double treble, or we have gone backwards?
We have to understand the mandate given by the club each season, and also depending on how, like, the coach that we've hired, because each and every coach has a mandate before he starts the job. So we can't actually say we have progressed or we have failed, whatever. But one thing that Ivan Coz has always emphasized is us not being only dominant in our league, but also in Africa. So we tend
So we haven't, because
no, not exactly, because in one point we'd have supposed to have found balance in between the two, with the players and the infrastructure and everything that is put at Orlando Pirates. You need to have found a balance between the two of having, we have these players and this is what we want to achieve. A coach, a clever coach, will need to know, we leave these players, we have these players. When you go play in Africa, none of our, whether continental or locally, has to be affected by the results or what we participate in.
so you're saying that we have progressed internationally, but domestically
No, we tend to
haven't.
no, we haven't. We tend to, I don't know whether it's, there's something that happens in Africa, but when we come back, we're different pirates. We somehow, I don't know, lack ability, or
Is that because of the strength of the ABSA Premiership, or you just think they underestimate the teams in the ABSA Premiership?
I sometimes believe that, and also they underestimate the opponents and thinking, I mean, we pirates, we play against, no pun intended, like we play against Polokwane City. What is Polokwane City? And then Polokwane City does wonders and they get the results or they progress to the next stage as well.
What makes Pirates, for the past 3 years, to be so successful in Africa compared to a Chiefs that dominates the PSL, a Sundowns that currently are killing the PSL, Super Sports and Wits? They're strong PSL teams, and you could say that they could give Pirates a run for their money in the league, but when they go into Africa, what makes Pirates so different and so special to them?
And just to summarize that, like all the questions you just asked, it has to be Dr. Ivan Koza. His own personal goal for Pirates is just simple: dominate in Africa, dominate in our league, and then dominate in Africa. He emphasizes on that because we have a star, 1995 Champions League winners. So he wants that thing to continue. So he always emphasizes that yes, we do want to win the league domestically, but as well in Africa, want to be well recognized as Orlando Pirates, as South Africans, South African football in our league, to say we can compete with other big teams in Africa, not only dominate in our league. So I think it's Ivan Koza's main objective of saying, dominate this, play for me, show me when I play, and make a history for yourself. Even the players, they want to, this thing of saying Orlando Pirates won the Champions League in 1995. I mean, there's no other team that has ever managed to win the Champions League after us in 1995. Hence, the players always push themselves to say, we want to be written in the history books of Orlando Pirates, in the history books of South Africa, being the only team that's won the Champions League, also won the Confederations Cup. So it's just for the players and the management of having to want to leave a legacy for themselves and their families and their friends.
And I'll go back to this question. Why do you think that Chiefs, if you check at Chiefs, they have one of the strongest defenses in the league? Sundowns, they've got a very, very, very solid defense with numbers in backup. But you look at Pirates, we play with a makeshift defense. Some weeks we play with Nyawoza, some week we play with Happy Jele. Pungwayo is always injured. Matlaba also has had his injuries. Ayanda Kaba, some will say he's not the most talented player, but he finds a way to play in the Pirates team. What's the difference between that? Pirates has a weak defense, not a weak defense, but not as strong compared to a Sundowns and a Chiefs. What's the difference for them that makes them so successful in the CAF competitions than Chiefs, who have such a experienced defense that has played with each other for such a long time? What do they lack?
In terms of our defense, the defense that we have, it's the only player that is not even young. It's Matlaba, but our defense is aging, honestly speaking. So with Kaizer Chiefs, I always say with Kaizer Chiefs and Sundowns, if your centre backs, like your centre backs are much stronger. Like Kaizer Chiefs had last season with Eric Matoho and Mashamayite. And Schultz Strolt, the Sundowns former captain, played with Taban Tete, if I'm mistaken, and Arense as well. I believe if those two people are much stronger, also if you got a good goalkeeper, if you got that, and then in the middle of the park you fix that as well, you tend to have a better chance of winning more games. As once Gavin Hunt said, if you want to win championship, you need to have a good defense. The defense is defend for you, and the rest will take over, which is up front to score goals for you. As for Pirates in Africa, I think they do the basic things.
Yeah.
They don't mess around, because when you look at them playing in South Africa, when a ball is played and like the oppositions are taking Pirates. If they find the ball, they can pass the ball amongst themselves. But in Africa, they don't have time for that. They know we need to clear the ball away from a danger area.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of experience, they do have experience in understanding after 2013 of understanding that in Africa you don't have time to be playing with the ball in your backyard. You need to take the ball away from the danger area. You have time to regroup and find and mark whoever and make space and arrange the whole defense. As for in our league, I don't know what happens, or just I don't know, the players are just fast for them or whatever. But I tend to believe it's aging, and yeah, if we can try to introduce new players like Tshepo Kumete, he's still young. Edwin Chima, he's still young. Tauma Tlaba is there. Nyauza is young. If we can
But
try.
don't you think
like
the introduction of them would be premature because they're in the final, truthfully speaking, and without the players you've mentioned, do you think changing that defense might destabilize the team?
In terms of saying they should introduce players, Kumete and Edwin Chima not registered for CAF. So hence I said to you earlier on, in terms of the players that we have, and while we dominate in Africa, but in locally we can't do that. As I said to you, the coach, I mean, there are players that have left. Not all of the Paris players have left. There are players that are left behind. The coach, second coach who's ever is behind, can actually give those players a chance to play. And then when they come back, like, it's rotation at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. Locally, the Kumetes can play, and the next season they register them if they feel that they need to play in Africa. But if you introduce them playing in our league, when other players, because other players are tired, playing in Africa is no child's play. You cannot just come back after 24 hours flight and then come play on Tuesday. You can back on Sunday.
Yeah, you raise a good point. So are you saying that Tinkler might be at fault for burning out the players because he plays them in the league, he plays them in CAF? Do you think that he should minimize, as you say, rotate more, or they're professionals, they should just play? Because if you look at Arsenal or Real Madrid, they play about 60 games a season. 3 days, it's a game. Here we have these. I do not understand what is this break that is coming. The one that is coming up recently.
The long one. Then after the last game will be on the next game will be on the 16th, the final on the 20th, then we close with the
I do not understand that. But yeah, getting back to that, do you think that Tinkler, he puts too much pressure on Africa, doing well in Africa, and then going to the league, the players are already tired? Do you think he should change that, or it's just the syndrome of Pirates underestimating your Chipas, your Polokwanes, your Wits? Do you think that's the problem?
I won't entirely fault Tinkler because there are internal factors that we are none aware of. So the players that he selects, it's based on the form, based on what he saw, and based on what the previous players given him. On circumstances, others, that he cannot play a certain player, you have to understand there's some reasons that we're not aware of. Maybe it's injury, suspension, or the player like somehow is not feeling somehow before the game. So we cannot entirely fault Tinkler on saying you should. Yes, we do have to blame him in a way, but we don't know what's actually happening there for the players. Some of players who play ahead of others that don't even deserve to be in the starting 11.
And do you also believe in that the other PSL teams, they underestimate or they don't take the African competition seriously?
Yeah, I tend to believe that. Hence I said earlier on, it's the chairman's main objective and goal to achieve at Orlando Pirates. So he emphasizes that. I think every season, before the season starts, if we're going to campaign in the Champions League or Confed like we did this season, I believe he all emphasizes that on saying we need to dominate in Africa as well as we dominate locally. So, and some say it's very strenuous to play in Africa. The long hours you take to travel there, the conditions you find where you're going to play, the treatment, there's a lot of factors. So maybe some.
But it could also be that your Sundowns and your Chiefs are soft, because Pirates, they went to Mazembe, a stadium where you do not win, where you do not get anything, and they came out alive. But the Chiefs went to freaking Botswana, a team in Botswana, and they struggled. Even they won the game, but you were expecting a Chiefs to wallop the team.
I get that point. Hence, I said to you, it's the this is the chairman's main objective. If the chairman emphasizes on that, you have to understand when you're leaving to go and play in Uganda. It's not South Africa. It's not like you're going to play in Soccer City or Moses Mabhida. You need to know whatever conditions you're going to play there, whatever you're going to find. You might find that you go to training, there are security guards with guns looking at you while you train. When you come back, there's no water. They've closed the water deliberately because they don't want you guys to, but they just want you to suffer. So there's a kind of condition of saying, it's the chairman's main goal. It's not the player sometimes. If the chairman can just highlight and encourage and just tell them, this is what you should expect. This is not your home. This is what you should do. Expect the unexpected. Play. Do what you actually came to do there. Don't mind other stuff. Then even Sundowns and Chiefs can dominate in Africa as well.
And then, what would you prefer, to win the CAF Confederations Cup or to lose tomorrow, on Sunday, and to win the Nedbank and to win the league? Which would you prefer, honestly speaking? Straight answer.
It's the Confed and the Nedbank.
Nedbank
or
and the league. Nedbank and the league together, or just the Confederations?
I would want Confed.
Yeah.
Yes, because we'll be all be in the books of history as well, being the only South African team that has won the Champions League and also won the Confed. That will also open doors for the other South African teams.
We will join Sahel.
Yeah, I understand that, but
in the continent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It also opened doors for another third team in South Africa to play in the Champions League this season. So if we win the league, we can win it. Yes, it's not always lost for us. Honestly, I believe if we can put a lot of effort and second round to collect more points, we can still win the league. We're still in contention. Just that we are distracted by the Confed. So maybe that's why we're not picking up points and everything.
Okay.
So I want the Confed.
Okay, so now to the other part of this discussion is the game that will be contested on Sunday. We hear that the Tunisian FA are discussing how many fans they should bring. Do you have any insights on that?
The capacity of the stadium is 28,000.
Yes.
But it is agreed upon that there are only going to be 12,000 people that are allowed at the stadium.
Is that an advantage for Pirates?
I tend to believe either way, because I honestly believe if you have people behind your back, that's when you need to show it. That's where your real character is showing.
Yeah.
So regardless, Paris should just learn.
But what would you prefer Paris to play with the stadium full of 28,000 angry Tunisian fans putting pressure on their team, or to play in a stadium with no pressure, but also the Paris might also feel that if there's no pressure, they might also.
No, they won't. I honestly believe that because this thing it's in two. If let's say they did allow the 28,000 spectators to come to the stadium,
yes,
and you find Pirates play the first from the first half, you score a goal. What do you think the opposition Etoile will feel? What will the supporters react?
Yeah.
They'll put them under pressure, which could be a plus for us. It opens gaps.
Yeah.
We can counter-attack, get a second goal. So having support is a disadvantage and an advantage. But for us, I believe it's an advantage. It will show us.
But remember, against Al Ahly,
we need to come. That's what I'm saying. We need to come out, because that time they knew that the score was 2-0. You understand? And the introduction of Tabara Khale and Kermit Erasmus, they just knew if we scored this one goal, it's gonna lift our spirits up. And we scored that one, they had self-belief. That's what I'm saying. Regardless where we have thousands or millions supporters, if you guys believe in yourself, if you guys know we can conquer, if you guys know, regardless of what the circumstances are now, we can still change that result or situation. So if it's 20 or 30, we don't care. They will win it. Actually, I have self-belief in that they will win it.
On the last week, on the 20, what was it? The last match when
1st of November.
Yeah, 21st, when we played at the Orlando Stadium, I remembered you said Nolo Masalesa wasn't up to standard.
Yeah.
Do you think the exclusion of Jumaelo's suspension will be felt heavily, or do you think Issa should start and Masalesa should go to the bench, do you think that Issa and Masalesa can play together? What do you think of the exclusion of Njumayelo? and what impact will that have on Masalesa?
Starting with the suspension of Jumailo, having lost Opa Manyisa has been a bit hard for us.
Yeah.
Because there's no player who can play like in his caliber.
But don't you also think that since Manyisa has gone, the players have become more disciplined? Because when there was Opa, I'm not discrediting Opa. Yeah. Opa is a brilliant player, but I felt that Pirates depended on him too much. And by losing Opa, even though it's never good to lose a player through injury, but losing Opa gave everyone that mentality that, okay, everyone must step up, everyone must fight. Because Isasa, to speak the truth, before Opa came, he was good.
Yeah.
But now he's on the level of brilliant.
Yeah.
Because he marks, he attacks, he holds the team.
Yeah.
Don't you think that, sorry again to Opa Manyisa, that losing him might have benefited Pirates, and also saying that by not having him we've struggled. We haven't really struggled, because if you look at the league, we're not that far off, and we've also performed wonders.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. It's a blessing in disguise. Another thing is a lot of things need to be surrounded with Opa. He's the one. He's like, let's start with Isasa. His job was to mark, protect the back four.
Yeah.
While Manyisa is the one who strings the passes for us, who makes play for us. Yeah. So a lot of ball was with Opa all the time.
Yeah.
So despite Opa not being available, I honestly believe there is somebody in the team that can not actually take over, but do his part as well in playing that role. Nchumailo is trying to do it. In some games he's succeeded, in some games he hasn't. It's not his natural position to, yes. Like, if there's, that's why my point, it goes back to, if you can take a player like Kermit Erasmus, play him that position. Kermit is quite dangerous in coming from deep, right? But that's going to affect us in the last third, because there's no person who's going to be lethal at the end. Because if we had a
maybe
player,
we could play with Kabuza and Majoro, and then
that's what I'm saying. But as this isn't, Majoro has not been his full best, honestly speaking. So having said that, like, there are a lot of players who can try that position. I mean, there's like Thabo Qali, you can try him that position. Thabo Rakhal, you can try him that position. Gamanyisa, to see what he can do. Osfiso Myeni, despite him coming back from injury, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of players who can still play. As for the suspension of Jumailo, it could be a blessing in disguise as well. But I don't honestly I'm really looking forward to see how Isasa and Jumailo, Isasa and Issa are going to play on. Isasa and Marcellus are going to play on Sunday.
Should he play? If you were the coach, would you select him?
Wow. With the pedigree, with pedigree and experience, that's a better option we have.
Orlando Pirates Fan TV. Katia, follow us on Instagram, Orlando Pirates Fan TV, on Twitter, OPFC 1937, YouTube, Orlando Pirates Fan TV. Thank you, and part 2 of the interview will follow.